The story begins at the Galactic Coalition War Academy, a massive space station floating above a lifeless gray moon, where young soldiers from many alien species are being trained because the galaxy is facing a terrible war. A powerful enemy called the Korth Dominion has already destroyed many worlds, and fear hangs heavy in every corridor of the academy. On this day, the cadets gather at a huge firing range for a final weapon test, an event meant to decide who is ready to face real combat. The range is filled with shining armor, strange shapes, and powerful weapons that glow with energy and hum with advanced force. Confidence fills the air, especially among the alien cadets who believe their technology is far beyond anything lesser species could offer. Then the humans arrive. They are few in number, quiet and serious, carrying weapons that look plain and old compared to the glowing guns around them. Their rifles are dark metal, without lights, coils, or visible power cores. Almost immediately, laughter spreads through the crowd. Alien cadets whisper and point, mocking the human weapon and calling it a toy. Some openly joke that humans must be desperate or foolish to bring such primitive tools to a modern battlefield. A tall insect-like cadet mocks them loudly, asking where the rest of the weapon is, while others laugh at the lack of energy signals. Even a reptilian officer sneers, clearly amused, believing humans have no idea how real war is fought. Despite the insults, one human officer, Lieutenant Marahale, steps forward without anger or pride. She is calm, scarred, and focused, showing no sign that the laughter affects her. Behind her stand other human soldiers, just as silent and steady. The lead instructor, Commander Thalos, a veteran alien warrior who has survived multiple wars, orders silence and announces the test. A massive armored target is brought forward, built with the same material used in Korth infantry armor, famous for resisting plasma, lasers, and ion weapons. One by one, alien cadets fire their advanced weapons. The range fills with bright flashes and loud blasts as plasma burns the surface and ion beams crack the armor, yet the target remains mostly intact. The damage looks impressive, but it is not enough to destroy the core. Then it is the human's turn. Commander Thalos calls Mara forward, his voice neutral but curious. The laughter returns, softer now, mixed with doubt. Mara steps to the firing line, lifts her rifle, and takes a slow breath. The weapon does not glow or charge. There is no warning sound. When she fires, the sound is sharp and simple, like a sudden crack in the air. A single metal slug flies faster than anyone can see and strikes the target. There is no explosion of light, no burning energy. Instead, the armored slab shatters violently, breaking apart as if hit by an invisible hammer. Plates burst outward, sensors fail, and alarms scream as the core collapses completely. The range falls into absolute silence. Faces that once laughed now stare in shock and fear. Commander Thalos lowers his claw slowly, unable to hide his surprise, and asks what kind of weapon could do such damage. Mara calmly explains that it is a mass driver rifle, a weapon that uses speed and force instead of energy, making it impossible for shields to block. She adds quietly that the shot was fired at the lowest setting. The meaning of her words sinks deep into every listener. In that moment, the aliens realize they made a terrible mistake by underestimating humanity. The laughter dies, replaced by respect and unease. The test ends, but something far greater has begun. Humanity is no longer seen as weak or backward. Without shouting or boasting, they have shown that simple tools, guided by determination and understanding, can break what the galaxy believed was unbreakable. As the broken target smokes on the range floor, one truth becomes clear to all who witnessed it. Humans did not come to entertain or impress. They came to survive, and they are prepared to change the war forever. After the shocking demonstration at the firing range, the humans' reputation spread quickly throughout the Galactic Coalition War Academy, but there was little time to celebrate. Just 3 days later, alarms blared across the station, red lights flashing violently, shaking the decks as if the station itself were trembling in fear. The AI voice echoed urgently through the corridors. Incoming Korth fleet. Multiple carriers in assault formation. The Korth Dominion, notorious for their speed and brutality, had discovered the Academy's location and was arriving in force. Panic rippled among the cadets, many of whom had never seen a real battle, let alone faced a fleet of relentless Korth attackers. Commander Thalos, seasoned and calm despite the chaos, stood on the command deck, watching enemy symbols multiply on the tactical display. He knew they were heavily outnumbered. Their ships were smaller, fewer, and less advanced in terms of fleet-scale weaponry. His voice was steady but tense as he admitted the grim truth. They might not be able to hold the station for long. Mara Hale, still carrying her rifle magnet-locked to her armor, stepped up beside him. Unlike the nervous cadets around them, the humans did not panic. Mara's eyes scanned the tactical map, calculating, thinking ahead. She did not argue, did not make noise, she simply stated, "Then we hold." And hold they did. As Korth boarding pods slammed into the station's hull like living meteors, the human squad moved quickly, using the narrow corridors and confined spaces to their advantage. They did not waste time in hesitation. The first Korth soldiers broke through smoke and debris, towering and armored, weapons burning the air with plasma fire. But humans were ready. Mara shouted commands, precise and quick, and the corridor became a whirlwind of action. Human rifles cracked repeatedly, the sound sharp and deadly, each shot slicing through Korth armor with precision. Where alien cadets faltered, humans advanced, moving with confidence and deadly coordination. Korth bodies were thrown backward, crushed or ripped apart by the kinetic power of human weapons. Those who had laughed at humans' toys could only stare, unable to comprehend the destruction a single simple rifle could bring. The Korth forces adapted, deploying heavy shielded units, overlapping their defenses and forcing the humans to adjust. Mara calmly issued the order to switch to piercing rounds, and once again the human shots tore through shields that had been considered impenetrable. Slowly, the Korth began to retreat. Then came the real danger. The War Master arrived, a massive Korth commander clad in black command armor, wielding a gravity hammer that bent the floor with every strike. He roared like a thunderstorm, a sound meant to terrify all who opposed him. Mara felt fear gnaw at her chest, but she did not waver. The War Master swung his hammer, smashing through walls and scattering debris. Mara was thrown back, blood in her mouth, vision blurred, but she forced herself up. She aimed at the towering figure, steadying her weapon with trembling hands. "High setting," she whispered, and fired. The shot struck the War Master's chest, armor collapsing inward instantly under pure kinetic force. The War Master froze, eyes wide with shock, then fell like a crumbling tower. Silence fell over the corridor. Word of the event spread quickly through the station. Human weapons were capable of cutting through what had been thought invincible. The alien cadets who had once doubted them began to follow their lead, inspired by the humans' courage, focus, and ingenuity. But outside, the threat remained. The Korth fleet still hovered above the station, ready to fire on the core, a strike that could destroy everything and everyone inside. Commander Thalos admitted the grim truth. They could not match the enemy in open space. Mara studied the tactical map, her mind working at lightning speed. Then she smiled, a rare and confident smile. "Good," she said. "We won't fight them in space." Her words carried weight. The humans had a plan, a way to turn the tide of the battle despite the overwhelming odds. They were not relying on numbers or alien technology. They were relying on their ingenuity, their courage, and the simple, unstoppable power of their weapons. While others panicked and fretted over impossible odds, Mara and her squad prepared the station itself as a weapon, a fortress capable of defending against the Korth fleet. The cadets and commanders began to understand that humans did not wait for favorable conditions. They adapted. They fought where others could not, and they used every advantage, no matter how small. The humans' actions inspired others, giving hope and courage where fear had been dominant. The battle in the corridors became a turning point, showing the galaxy that humans were not only survivors, they were innovators and warriors capable of doing what others could not. The Korth Dominion may have arrived expecting an easy victory, but they had not anticipated the humans' ability to use the environment, their weapons, and their own resolve to rewrite the rules of combat. By the end of the fight in the station's corridors, the humans had proven that bravery, intelligence, and determination could overcome seemingly impossible odds. The aliens around them, once skeptical and mocking, now looked with respect, admiration, and a hint of awe at what humans could accomplish. The stage was set for the final confrontation. The Korth fleet might still be above them, and the battle was far from over, but humanity had already shown that it would not be defeated easily. Through courage, ingenuity, and the simple but devastating power of their weapons, humans had turned the joke of their toy guns into a demonstration of their unstoppable potential. And the galaxy would never forget it. The final part of the story begins with the Korth fleet looming above the station, a dark mass of warships ready to annihilate the Academy. The coalition ships, though brave, were outmatched in both numbers and firepower, and the enemy flagship, a colossal world breaker, was preparing to fire its main weapon, a devastating blast capable of destroying the station and everyone on it. The situation seemed hopeless to all but the humans. Mara Hale, calm and determined, approached the firing controls of the station's last hope, a massive kinetic cannon that humans had built in secret and nicknamed Old Thunder. It was a simple weapon by galactic standards, a giant metal tube designed to hurl enormous projectiles at extreme speed, relying on pure force instead of energy signatures. Many of the alien commanders had laughed at it, thinking it too slow and crude to make a difference against a fleet of advanced Korth ships. But Mara knew otherwise. She prepared the cannon, checking calculations and angles, her mind sharp despite the tension. Commander Thalos watched silently, his expression unreadable but tense, as Mara aligned the massive weapon with the approaching flagship. The AI warned of the low chance of success, just 12%, but Mara did not hesitate. She knew that humans had never relied on chance. They relied on precision, timing, and courage. With a nod, she gave the order to fire. The cannon roared, shaking the station violently, releasing a projectile the size of a transport ship into space. Unlike energy weapons, there was no glowing trail. No warning to the enemy, just a dark, solid mass hurtling toward the flagship at incredible speed. Time seemed to slow as the slug crossed the distance between the station and the enemy flagship. The Korth fleet, confident in their superior firepower, did not anticipate such a simple but effective human weapon. When the projectile struck the flagship, the result was catastrophic. Instead of exploding in fire or plasma, the ship's armor and internal structure could not withstand the sheer kinetic force. The hull folded inward, gravity cores failed, and the flagship collapsed like a broken tower, sending fragments into space. The Korth fleet froze in shock, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Panic spread quickly as ships attempted to maneuver away, but the momentum of fear and confusion had already shifted the battle. Coalition ships surged forward, inspired by the humans' audacity, seizing the moment to press the advantage. Mara and her team led the charge, coordinating attacks with precision, using every advantage the station and their weapons provided. By the end of the engagement, the Korth fleet had been destroyed or forced to retreat, leaving the station and the galaxy momentarily safe. The victory was not achieved by overwhelming numbers or the most advanced technology, but by the ingenuity, courage, and determination of humans, demonstrating once more that simplicity combined with skill could outmatch complexity and raw power. Weeks later, as the Academy rebuilt and new cadets arrived, Mara stood at the firing range, demonstrating the mass driver rifle once again. This time, there was no laughter, no mocking. Commander Fellows addressed the assembly, his voice echoing with authority and respect, reminding all species that human weapons were simple, but humans themselves were extraordinary. Mara looked out at the stars, reflecting on how far humanity had come. Once considered insignificant, ignored, and mocked, humans had faced a superior enemy and survived, turning the tide of war not through arrogance, but through understanding, courage, and sheer determination. The demonstration of Old Thunder and the rifle left a lasting impression. Humans did not bring toys to a battle. They brought solutions, and when pushed to the edge, they could achieve the impossible. The story concluded with a profound truth resonating across the galaxy. Underestimating humans was a mistake no one would ever repeat, for they had shown that resilience, ingenuity, and courage could change the course of war, destroy what seemed indestructible, and inspire allies and enemies alike. Humanity had faced overwhelming odds, but in their simplicity and focus, they had created a weapon and a strategy so effective that it would be remembered as the moment the galaxy truly realized the power and potential of humankind. Their victory was not just physical but symbolic, proving that determination, creativity, and unity could triumph over raw might and technology, leaving the Korth Dominion and all who witnessed the battle in awe. In the end, the humans had taught the galaxy a lesson that could not be ignored. When faced with impossible odds, they did not falter. They adapted, they fought, and they prevailed. The final act cemented the legend of humanity as a force capable of facing the impossible and emerging victorious, forever changing the perception of humans among the stars, and proving that what others had once laughed at could, with skill and courage, become the instrument of victory and the key to survival.